It might have been a hard day's night with you working like a dog, but if the firm has these green flags, maybe you didn't mind it as much.
Next level coaching.
Hey, I'm Jim Kelly with Next Level Coaching, and I'm here to bring your career to the next level. While you're here, gently hit that like button, gently hit the subscribe button, help this channel grow so more people can get more good information. So last week we talked about signs of a toxic workplace. So today we're going to talk about 10 signs of a positive workplace. And what you're going to notice is a lot of firms have a mix of this and that. There's going to be good and bad in them. That is normal, and you're going to be looking for the right balance of them. Hopefully you're finding a firm with all green flags and it's wonderful, but life generally doesn't work out that nicely. So we'll make sure we're finding as many green flags as possible to make sure that you are in as healthy an environment as possible. And with no further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with number 10, mistakes are learned from. So we are all human. At least I'm assuming everyone's human who's watching this. It could be all robots watching it. I don't know. But I'm going to assume you're a human. So humans are fallible creatures. We're going to make mistakes from time to time. Heck, I just made a mistake right there while I was talking. So they happen all the time to people. And generally, they're not a major deal. We make minor mistakes most of the time. But when leadership in a firm takes ownership of mistakes and notes how they're learning from them, how the company's growing from them, and they're not trying to throw someone under the bus for the mistakes, this is a sign of a good, healthy working environment. These mistakes are going to happen. Sometimes it's going to happen with major projects. Company wasted a couple $1 million on a project that ultimately didn't give it the results it expected. Now, are they blaming someone for this, or did everybody have buy-in and they thought this is a good project, let's move it forward, and they turned out they were wrong? That happens. It is okay for that to happen as long as the company didn't overspend on it and that they're learning from those mistakes. And number 9 is the freedom to speak up. As someone who would clearly put his greatest weakness as I like to speak truth to power, this is a huge one for me. I have to be able to speak up about things that are going wrong in a workplace to make sure that they get better. Because ultimately, that's what we should all be looking for, is to make our organization a better, healthier place. So, in some firms, they'll shoot down ideas that are going to change things for the better just because they don't want to change. But in other firms, they're going to go, well, let's see, why is this a pain point? Is there a reason for it to be the pain point? Because sometimes there is going to be a pain point in the process, and it has to land somewhere. Where's the least painful place for it to land? And sometimes that's with your team, unfortunately. So not every time you speak up is something going to change in a process. But if they're unwilling to listen to it, that's a bad sign. If they're willing to listen, that's a very green sign. Coming in next, we have inclusivity policies. These are anti-discrimination and pay clarity type policies. So these are the policies to make sure that everyone is fitting in and nobody is being ostracized. And the pay clarity is making sure that nobody is going, hey, this guy gets paid double the money to do the exact same job as me. Whether this is, due to some type of friendship of, an upper manager to that person, or, any given reason. There can be justifiable reasons why someone makes significantly more. they have way more experience. That's perfectly fine. But we want to make sure that our pay scales are above board, that the pay scale for a role should be relatively open in this day and age, because otherwise you were just wasting people's time on applying for roles that they don't actually want and you don't want them for. So being above board with your pay scale, it's going to save so much money in the long run at this point. And you no longer will have those employees who are going, well, you hired me at $50,001, and the pay scale starts at 50,000, and I had 10 years of experience, but you brought on somebody who has 1 year of experience for $70,000. Please explain that. There's no good justification for that. I apologize, but so firms that have these type of policies where we're making sure people are included, and we're making sure that our pay is above border, that is a very, very good thing. Going in next on the list is respect of boundaries. So this could be, hey, so-and-so signs off at X time to, go do errands. They sign off to go to dinner. They sign off for the night this time. Not calling you up at 9 o'clock at night about an issue that can wait till the morning. These are important things that matter a lot to have a good work-life balance. Now, are there going to be times where you're going to have to work later than things and work outside of your boundaries? Absolutely. There are extraordinary circumstances in business. It's an unfortunate thing, but it is a thing. So, there's not 900 other people just take your place in every project. So occasionally you do have to work longer or work late. But, your manager respecting that outside of extraordinary circumstances, that's what I'm talking about. And that is a giant green flag. Slotting in at number 6 is supportive management. These are managers who are giving you the tools to actually succeed at your job. Whether it is giving you the bandwidth to actually do the project you're working on, whether it is reaching out to other teams to, help you get in touch with people to figure out a problem, or whether it is, actually raising your ideas up to senior management to get them implemented. And that there's thousands and thousands of other ways for managers to be supportive. So I don't want to trivialize any of them. I'm just giving you examples. A supportive manager makes all the difference in the world. A manager can make or break a position. So never overlook the need for a good manager in a role. There is one constant in the universe, and that is change. And the next green flag is embracing change. So organizations are constantly going to have to change with the times to, one, make sure that they're keeping up best culture for their employees, but also to make sure that they are keeping up with their product to the market, because that's going to be an ever-changing thing. So if a firm is against change and they always want to go, well, we did this way in 1966, we're going to keep doing it this way, unless it is a formula for a food type, that might want to change with the times here. So we would make sure we're updating our processes as necessary and making sure we have the best operational policies as possible. And there I go, making another mistake while I'm talking here. I tend to keep my mistakes in my videos because I like people to know I'm human. So there we go. In 1943, the Eagles and the Steelers joined as one team to become the Steagles for a season. And this was due to World War II. And this gave us some great team collaboration, which is our next green flag. Just a fun point of history there. But when teams work together instead of against each other, this is a very green sign for a firm because everyone is working together towards an ultimate good for the firm and for its employees. So we want to make sure we're having as much collaboration as possible, so that we are getting things done in the best way possible across all of the teams. Coming in number 3 is going to be opportunities for growth. These are going to be management giving people opportunities to grow their skills outside of their normal BAU. And this is also has been in a firm that actually has people have enough time to do things outside of their BAU. But neither here nor there. We're talking about growth of skills, growth of abilities, the putting people onto calls where they could be in front of more senior people so that they can get that exposure to the senior people, but they can also hear what's being talked about on those calls. So it might not be them necessarily being the person talking on the call and host taking all the questions every time, but they can hear what's happening and they can see what's happening at a more senior level, which lets them grow into that, which is a fantastic thing. All right, everybody, it did so good. We're going to have a pizza party. Now, that's not what I'm talking about, but I am talking about employee recognition. So this is where firms go above and beyond expressing, appreciation for people's work. This can be managers just calling out, hey, Johnny Q Sample did very well with this particular thing. Susie Q, you're doing amazing on your sales. It is these little pats on the back that help drive people to go to the next level. Not every employee loves public recognition, so you have to know your employee and make sure that you are addressing them how they like to be addressed with their recognition. Some people prefer a closed door comment about it, or an email or a ping. Other people get a huge thrill out of being recognized in front of everyone. So it's knowing your audience for it. But employee recognition is a huge thing. It makes people feel like an important part of their organization. So make sure you're doing it if you are a manager. And coming in at number 1, people can bring their authentic self to work. They do not need to put on a face of I am a worker robot, I am here to work, that is it. They can feel free to bring their whole self to work. They could bring their culture to work. They could bring who they are as a person to work. And these are wonderful, wonderful things to have, diversity in the workplace. Now, does this mean everybody should be in work cursing like a sailor? Probably not. Depending on the culture there, it might be completely acceptable. I'm not here to judge, not here to speak on that. But does this mean people should come in like they're dressed for the club? No, that does not mean that. It means people should be able to come into work dressed how they feel is appropriate. To a point, we don't want to make other people feel terribly uncomfortable, but wearing something that is culturally appropriate to you should not, be an impediment to somebody else. So that being said, being able to bring your authentic self is a fantastic thing. So there were 10 green flags for a positive workplace. They are not in any particular order. I just had to have them in order to be able to talk about them. Otherwise, I will go completely crazy and just start talking about one in the middle of the other, which would be terrible. No one understands a thing I'm saying. So you do have to have some organization in your workplace too. But That being said, there are many, 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 many great workplaces out there, and you just have to find the right one for you and the right role for you. And that is always a challenge and always a struggle to get into that right organization and to identify that right organization. You know, and if you're ever struggling with that, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help. But again, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share this with a friend. Yeah. And I'll be here for you next time. You have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon.